Hello everyone, Ohayou gozaimasu. Welcome, irashaimase. This is Ohayou Anime. It's the anime show that doesn't take place in the morning, but it is morning in Japan, so that's how we're getting away with it. My name is John, and we're going to be talking Apothecary Diaries tonight. Well, I'm sure we'll get into some other things, but that's going to be the big main subject. So a very popular show this last season. Hopefully you've watched it, because we will be getting to some spoilers. But for some reason, my lighting is looking a little dim here. What the hell? Anyways, we're going to get our guests in. We've got two of them today. Andrea and Phil, how's it going?
Super good.
Super good.
I mean,
Nice.
yeah, for the
You're
most part.
so ecstatic when you said that.
Well, you know.
Andrea, I cannot hear you. I feel like it's the... Nope.
No blur.
Oh,
How about now?
Much better.
now I can. Yay. All right. Perfect.
You wanted to blur your
Um,
grill, Phil?
I did.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't either. I'm changing it.
In the immortal words of Nelly, let me see your grill.
It's like
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
my
what?
word.
who wants a
Yeah,
red
grill.
brick wall? Who
I
wants
do
it?
not. No.
No one would want this. This is
No.
the worst.
Also, it's terrifying when you like move and there's like blackness.
Coming out of the wall. Weird.
It's
Okay, I'm
best
just going back
just
to
leave
OG.
it.
It's fine. Sorry.
Yeah. If you don't have a green screen or really solid backdrop and lighting separating you, then it's
Oh wow.
the cutout doesn't work all that well usually.
I just packed away my green screen for the spring. So shoot.
Foolish.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, well, it feels like you guys are part of the gray brigade here.
We are.
I should have put on some
Oh yeah.
gray
Yeah.
shirt. I mean, is this your mood tonight, guys?
Gray.
It's,
Gray
it's
mood?
been the day today, but no, it's not been my mood.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I'm glad to see you guys back here. It feels like it's been a little while since we've had an anime episode, and want to
fine.
make this work because there's not too many shows that all of us are watching simultaneously or together or whatever. It's hard to get more than two people maybe watching the same show to completion.
Yeah.
True.
And so I'm happy that we're making this work with Apothecary Diaries. It's, we had a cool run with Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, but just reading the room, it feels like people are ready to not do like a weekly or every other week kind of coverage on some of that stuff. I was considering maybe doing a short sort of fill in the middle. I'll just chat about the newest episode of Kaiju number 8 or the two of them or something like that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But so we'll see something possibly on the table.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's several things that at least a rotating group of us are watching. Like we could do Kaiju number 8. We could catch up on Delicious in Dungeon. We haven't touched that in a really long time. Like there have been some pretty cool developments in that show.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching a couple of different movies that like I hadn't seen before or had always meant to see. So I do love a good film to break up stuff once in a while when it's so like self-contained. Shows get long sometimes, and even if they're great, sometimes you're like, oh my god, like it's just forever.
I like the trend. It feels that we're getting anime seasons that are kind of half length, or they're splitting them into halves, anyways. So it's, I'm cool with that. Apothecary obviously did not. I don't know the pacing exactly that released.
Sure.
But it was...
I thought it went all the way through like fall, winter, into spring. It was like one of those long... Same as like Freerun, I think. Finished up early spring.
Did they take a break like in the middle? Was it like, hey, we have a pause here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I guess we didn't start watching it until it was probably already halfway through. And then we binged it and then we caught up and then we just watched it week to week.
Sure. Because JJK had a couple of different pauses.
Yes. Well, it was weird. Yeah. It was weird because the first one was really just a recap thing,
right?
And then there was a break later, and
right?
Then, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you just don't know how they kind of feel like doing it.
True.
You guys both got whiskey here? Is that what?
I'm actually drinking rum, just like not spiced rum. I mean,
Hold the phone here.
Just regular, like.
Wow.
Phil's no plebeian with his
right. I mean,
rum.
it's like what am I in the sophomore in college? I mean,
little captain in your glass over there. I have straight whiskey in honor of Mau Mau's like straight up spirits challenge. I was like, I got to go straight up. So, and I got stones for the Go Stones. So I was like, you know what? I'm feeling a little abstract representation tonight.
Okay. That's cool. Well, you should, when you're talking about rum here, I've got this Blackwell James Bond rum, Phil.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, you've shown me that before.
That's good.
Yeah. So I am keeping this, I don't have it too often, so I don't run out.
Sure.
But what I think I'll do to kind of split the difference here, wasn't planning on, I got, because my tequila's all gone, my side tequila here. So I got this gin and I got this different liqueur. I thought, maybe I'd have this if I feel like it. But to go along with you guys, I'm going to have this Belvany Caribbean cask. So it is whiskey. It is aged 14 years, but it is in a Caribbean rum cask. So I'm going to kind of
split the difference. I like it.
Yeah.
You're going to be our bridge in the middle, John.
Right. Perfect. That's what I'm good at.
It's the perfect. Well, it's the perfect job for our host here to bridge the gap between your guests. You're doing your hostly duty. So well done.
That's right.
Well
I'm going to have to quell the fight between you guys later. Disagree hotly about Apothecary Diaries.
Yes, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what we might disagree too hotly on, but we'll see.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping there's something. Okay, well, before we get into it all, I do want to, we'll talk a little bit about if there's anything new we've been watching since we've last talked or reading or whatever.
Sure.
And impressions of those things. Maybe if you've continued any of the shows that you were thinking about from Detour. And then, then we'll get into the show. Because I don't really think, I haven't been keeping up on the news too much. Most of the news is usually like, oh, this is coming, that's coming. And yeah.
I know there are always like shows coming out and like always shows continuing, but it does feel like we're in this like between seasons.
Yeah.
There's like the winter and then there's like the spring. And I feel like we're kind of in this, it doesn't feel like there's a bunch of new shows right now.
Except for Kaiju.
Like a lull. There's a lot that's coming out. I guess there's a number of new isekai. If you're feeling like getting back into one of those, that's out now. But
I've heard that New Gate is supposed to be good.
Okay.
There's a couple other ones that look pretty interesting that I might give a shot.
I personally don't mind there being not a ton that I'm like, oh, I must see this because
give me a little break.
It gives me a chance to catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I agree.
Andrew, you look concerned.
Well, I'm on Crunchyroll right now because I was just like, yeah, they're really, they are kind of having like a lull happening right now. There's not like too much, being advertised. And then I was looking at like the first thing that came up on my feed was Black Butler. And I was why would that come up on my feed? I've watched that before. But they're releasing new seasons.
New arc, public school arc.
Yes. Black Butler is fabulous. I cannot recommend that enough.
For sure.
I've really enjoyed that.
Was gonna bring that up to you tonight. I'm glad you found it because we were looking through stuff and like, oh yeah, there's a new season of that. I wonder if Andrea knows.
Well, I do now, and I'm very excited. I am hopeful for it. Because I've been watching the second season of something that I've loved, The Irregular at Magic High School, and it's been a lot more like up and down. It's not as solid as the first season. I'm still keeping going, but yeah, it's been a little bit disappointing the way that the quality of the show, I can just tell, is like it's like watching
Promised Neverland.
No, well, yes. The first thing that came to mind, though,
Sword Art Online.
It's not quite that one. That one's such a wild split. The show that we all liked, the sci-fi show.
Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, that's what it reminds me. Yeah.
Andrew,
sorry, what reminds you of Altered Carbon?
Very robotic right now and like stuttery.
Yeah.
Just
we're like 4 frames a second. 100.
It's like second season is
Not
like.
Oh, now. Nice, frozen completely.
Oh man.
What show is she talking about, John?
Oh, that's a good look. That's a good look right there. She's stuck.
That's classic, Andrew, right there.
It is. I was like, I can tell as this is happening. Like the stutter. It's just a bit.
Okay. All right. So
annoying.
It sounded like you back.
Well, I'm here.
Altered
anyway,
Carbon. Season
Altered
2,
Carbon.
Yes, that was definitely a downturn.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it canceled.
Yeah, where you can tell like the quality was almost like it. You were watching it and you're like, you're almost there.
Close.
For me,
it's quite a bit less good than for season 1, but
I think so too.
No, I'm not even talking about plot lines though. Like, you know what I mean? Like the whole production was like, you're just not like the set isn't quite hitting. Like the camera shots just aren't quite hitting. Like it like even set aside the plot, which I feel like the opening of this plot in this anime is like the exact same where like the quality just went over here. It went sideways because you're just expected to make these like very large leaps. Like the world itself is just like that little bit, like when you get up into fine detail things, it's just not quite there.
Sure. What show are we talking about?
So I'm talking about like The Irregular at Magic High School, but I feel like this second season is the same like trajectory as Altered Carbon's second season, where like the world build itself let me down a little bit. There were still cool moments, but like it just wasn't quite as finely detailed as the first season. And then the plot, like at least from what I can tell from this beginning for Irregular, is taking the same kind of like bigger dip that Altered Carbon took.
That's too bad.
So I don't know if it's going to like come back up, if we kind of just have to like get over this hump of like, we're just going to throw this insane plot at you and like come with us and like eventually you'll just be in it. But yeah.
I mean, usually if it's production value stuff, that's probably not coming back in the season, you know? More like story could come around or something like that.
Right.
Well, that's too bad. Anything else that you're diving into?
That I'm watching?
Yeah.
I did start Grim Variations on Netflix.
Is that good?
It's good so far. Yeah, I've only watched the one episode. It's the first like Cinderella-esque, like dark Cinderella. I don't want to give too much away, but it's very good.
Okay, cool. Okay. Would Dana like it?
She would like it. I didn't watch it with like Dana in mind, so I didn't like pay attention to like how violent it was.
Dana's not on your mind all the time.
Yeah,
how dare I? Rude.
At least quite a bit.
I think she would. I think she would like it. I'd have to.
That's right.
We take a beat and kind of remember the violence, but yeah, I think she would like it.
Okay, cool.
I was downstairs and I was gonna start the first episode. I'm like, this seems like maybe something Ashley would like. I will text her instead of going up there. I'll text her and ask her, you know, hey, would you want to watch this show? And she said like the little preview they put on Netflix did nothing for me, but I would try it. So
really,
yeah, well, because they just play a little clip, you know, and it's just
a random Netflix hater clip. Generally.
What's that?
She just She just hates Netflix. I get it.
No, I don't think so. I mean, which enough things on there, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's so I didn't watch it then because I was gonna wait.
Sure.
So I tried a K-drama, and I didn't make it through the first episode. So
what did you try?
I wonder if I don't know if I wrote it down. It's called Doona or Doona.
Oh,
with
okay.
Exclamation point.
Yeah, I've seen that like show, but I haven't seen the show. Like I've heard of that show and seen it, but not watched it.
It was like it was seeming good, but I'm being pickier these days, and I was like, I just don't see this guy making these decisions right now. I'm just not okay with this, so I'm turning off.
Sure.
It's gotta.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta guard your free time, man. You can't just be watching.
I know.
It's not like high school and college when you thought you were busy, but really you had all the time in the world to just lay around and like watch whatever you wanted, or there's so much free time then. Oh my God, looking back. But anyway, you don't have that much time now. You got babies, you got a job.
Yep.
No.
Got a wife.
Yeah, you gotta that's right. Guard your free time.
Gotta be choosy. Yeah, you gotta be choosy.
Yeah, you
do. Okay, so that's a keep going. Did they dump all the episodes at once on that, or is it?
Let me see. I have Netflix open right now.
I thought they did. Because it's like an anthology, right? They don't tie together. It's all standalone episodes, right?
Right. They have 6 episodes out right now. I don't know if that's going to be all of them or if that's like a half season drop.
Usually, if they're going to drop a bunch and then more later, like this is like like I've heard. Just kidding, I watch it. Like Love Is Blind will drop like 6 episodes, and then it'll be like, and coming on this date is the 8th and 9th episode, and then coming on this date is the 10th and 11th episode, or blah blah blah. So I feel like they often do it that way.
Chance to like think, oh, sure, Phil, he's heard, or it's just
after I said it, I was like, I'm not ashamed. I don't know why I'm trying to pretend like I don't watch it. So
I've watched it, whatever. I got through 4, maybe 5 seasons. I don't remember.
Like fun, guilty pleasure, like reality TV. And Netflix does reality TV pretty well. I mean, it's like it's entertaining. I'm not saying it's like good,
good programming.
Programming,
Physical
right?
100 is great. So I think that's
Too Hot to Handle. It's obviously great stuff.
I have not watched that.
You haven't?
No.
There's like multiple seasons. Dana and I have not missed a season.
All the arguments you could go with. There's multiple. Like,
I mean, obviously it's popular. Show. There's so much you haven't seen. There's like I just mean, like, I can't believe we haven't talked. Okay, sorry, let me back up. I can't believe we haven't talked about it. I can't believe Dana and I haven't recommended it to you guys. I mean, I don't know if Chris would watch it. Yeah, I mean, he would. Maybe not.
He is forced to sit through like Love Is Blind or like or The Housewives as I watch them. So
okay, well, yeah.
What was that about guarding our time? I don't know.
Every once in a while I like just a trashy dating reality TV show.
Sometimes that is good for your time. Sometimes it is just like. It is beautiful white noise television that is like on, but you don't have to be invested.
Yeah. And then Dana and I will
like the other show you really liked, Andrea, by the Sex and the City creator, right?
Oh, Emily in Paris. Yes.
Dana liked that one.
Yes.
Yeah, Dana liked that.
Yes. White noise TV.
I remember you being hard on that one because you're like,
yes. It is. I found it beautiful. The show is beautiful, but you do not have to pay attention because like the plot. They like try for a season and then they're like, just kidding. Like, we know what we are. Like, we're not actually going to make any sense. You're just going to like look at our beautiful clothes and our beautiful Paris scenery and bye. Huh. But I watched it. I watched all of it.
Okay. All right. They got you.
Yep. They got me.
That or the Queen's Gambit. She really liked. I think it was the Queen's Gambit. She particularly liked, but I think she watched it.
Those are wildly different quality in terms of plot.
True.
Like Queen's Gambit deserved its Emmy nomination. Emily in Paris did not. I'm just again saying that as having watched all seasons and like thoroughly enjoyed like the candy for my eyes.
Sure.
It did not deserve an Emmy nomination.
It's good to have varying interests in media. as they say.
Yeah, I am trying to do a less of the white noise because it definitely is easy to do. And I'm like, well, I could be watching something. I could be getting something done. It's not accomplishing something per se, but it is more than just like noise for me to scroll on my phone or something,
Sure.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, Dana and I, it's like okay, so for example, like Too Hot to Handle, it's super, it's not going to win any Emmys, but it's not like we don't get invested in the contestants. I mean, we talk about it and we joke around about it, and we enjoy it. We don't just have it on to have it on. Like, it's fun, and it's like, we look forward to new seasons. So when a season comes out, it's like, oh, cool, we can binge this, and then we're done. I mean, I don't know. It's like something we do together. So for us, it's not wasted time, even though it's not intellectually stimulating media content. But I agree with you, John. That's important to also get that. And that's why I watch a lot of different kind of stuff.
Right.
Including Too Hot to Handle.
Phil, is Andrea, is Phil's audio clear on your end?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm having
you're fine for me, Phil. Okay, and I'm normally one with problems, so
I mean, hopefully it's. Is it still bad, John?
Guess I'm going wired. Let's see. Let's get this.
How's it?
Old school. This is
testing.
This is John's like classic podcast.
Oh yeah, I like it. I actually
throwback.
Dig this
yeah.
It's like the podcasting equivalent of aviation goggles.
Yes.
Like on your forehead.
Yes, I love it.
It's good. Is it better?
You are muted though, John. No, he is muted though.
Oh, you're muted.
Nope.
No, you're muted or something. Or
now you're not muted on StreamYard. Your mic issue is somewhere else.
Can you hear us?
I don't know what the second half of what you just said, but I saw the first half of your lips moving. And it was, I tell ya.
That does say that. I
was like, I got it. It's John.
And John's not using the technical issues. We can just go hog wild. We can just say whatever we want. Right? John's not here to moderate anything. It's killing him too.
Tell me more about Too Hot to Handle. I think he really likes. I think he really likes it.
Just completely hijacked the show. So yeah, I mean, okay. So they fly all these people to like a desert island, and the premise is they're told, "Oh, shoot, he's back."
Dang it, John. We were getting to the good part.
Yeah. I think these headphones are great, but yeah, I don't prefer to wear them for
sure
podcasting.
A little ear sweat going on.
No, it just like it just doesn't look as good. It's vanity.
That's where you're wrong, sir. They look great.
All right. Okay. All right. So
John, if you are looking for a K-drama, I watched Strong Girl Bong Soon on Netflix, and I really enjoyed that.
Okay. Recently you watched that one, or?
I think maybe a year ago. So I mean, it's not like just like this month or something, but it's not like far in the past. I enjoyed that.
Okay. Cool.
I recently also checked out a K-drama.
Oh yeah.
It's called Too Hot to Handle.
I had a suspicion that's where you were going.
I have not seen any K-dramas, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll make it all happen. We'll find the best, newest one coming out. We can talk about that too. Okay, Andrea, you've so there's a couple shows.
Yep.
Before we get into what Phil's been watching, I just want to let everybody know here, if we don't normally have this many technical problems, I guess. In the last couple of weeks, honestly, though, it has been weird stuff. Your internet, and then I saw my camera doorbell went offline, and then all of a sudden I wasn't hearing you guys and all kinds of crap. So
interesting.
Anyways, we do our best, and like right now we're live on YouTube and Twitch, the main podcast. We're live on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and X. That main podcast being Popcast on the Rocks. You can go to a podcast service, subscribe to us there at Popcast on the Rocks. You'll get the Ohayou Anime show and the regular Popcast on the Rocks show. Just want to put all that out there. And if you're watching live, thumbs up. Appreciate that. Share us out, all that sorts of thing. Okay. we'll get into more. We'll plug our friends later. We'll get into that later.
Oh yeah, sounds good.
Phil, what have you been watching and or reading?
All right. Yeah. So actually, I was mentioning. I mean, maybe it's just I'm in kind of a lull, but I feel like there's just not as much out there that I'm super excited to watch on a weekly basis. Except for, I did start Kaiju number 8. I only watched the first episode though. We were pretty busy this weekend, so I didn't see the most updated episode. But first episode is cool. I was expecting to like it, and I did. I started a show on Hulu called Go Go Loser Ranger. It's like a dark take on like Power Ranger lore, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
it's
an
weird.
anime?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's like the premise. I'll just give you the basic premise, which you get in the first episode anyway, is basically like these aliens attacked Earth, and so these like heroes were trained to fight them. It's not exactly clear how they got their powers, but they destroyed them like quickly, but the rest of the world still thinks there's an active invasion, and they come to watch these Power Ranger dudes, men and women, battle the aliens every Sunday like a friggin' NFL game. And they come and watch and cheer, but they also think like this is a real alien invasion, but they're so confident in their hero's ability to beat them back that they're not. I don't know, it's weird. But then you find out also there's like the alien invasion was just defeated, and then there's just these certain people that are still there, certain alien like lackeys who are the only ones left alive, and they just have an agreement with the humans, like, we won't destroy you if you just like every Sunday come down and pretend to try to take us over, and we'll beat you back. And it's strange, but the main character is one of these like aliens, alien lackey dudes.
Okay.
And they can their special powers, they're not very powerful, but they can transform into any, like, I guess I'm giving away some spoilers in the first episode. Okay, first episode spoilers. It's fine. I mean, it's fine.
Well, just, the premise is good, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't seen the second episode yet, even though I think I could be. See, I'm just behind on episodes, but, and then other than that, I mean, I still have a bunch of anime I'm like in the middle of that I just haven't been watching a ton of lately. But
sure,
the one I've been watching probably the most is Food Wars. I've been continuing to watch Food Wars quite a bit. It's a fun, just like, throw it on when I'm eating or something. If I'm like on a weekend, I'm having lunch and by myself for whatever reason, or I'll just watch, or I'll.
Yeah, you're by yourself.
It's just, no, honestly, after the first handful of episodes, it gets way less horny.
Yeah.
Somewhat less horny.
You just adjusted to it now.
No, I think it's just
Phil's tolerance is like up here.
Yeah.
No, so it's good. It's not like the kind of storyline that will keep you hooked to watch, like, binge 8 episodes in a row. I can usually watch 2 or 3 episodes and I'm like, I'm a little bored. I gotta switch to something else or do something else.
Sure.
Because it doesn't move terribly fast, and at its base, it's a cooking anime, and so,
right.
You know, not a lot happens in a string of episodes in the lives of these people. So, but then I've been watching a lot of other. And I won't get into it too deeply. I've been watching a lot of other non-anime stuff, primarily because we finally a couple weeks ago watched the first. Not the recent Dune movie, but the first Dune movie that we hadn't seen yet. So we watched it like 2 Saturdays ago. And then we went to see Dune 2 last Monday. Oh, right, yeah. And we loved it. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe we haven't watched this movie yet. It's been out since 2021. I've known it's really good. I've had people recommend it to me. I've known I will like it. But I cannot for the life of me figure out why. Out of pure laziness, I guess. I don't know. Just... hadn't watched it. Yeah, we loved it. It was awesome. So we watched Dune. We watched Dune 2, and then we went on an extended version Lord of the Rings binge.
Yeah,
that took quite a few nights. So we were just kind of in like big blockbuster movie mode for the last couple weeks, maybe month. I don't know. So
love it. We
watched Draft Day last night in preparation for the draft on Thursday. Not the best movie in the world. Not the best movie in the world. On a second rewatch. Not Kevin Costner's best work.
Yeah.
But Sorry, I didn't hear what you said, John. I'm sorry, I was busy blabbing.
No, that sounds boring. The draft day thing. That sounds boring.
Your whole life sounds very boring. John gave no clarification. That all sounds so boring.
What are you doing?
No, that's. I'm glad you've caught up on Dune. I mean, I understand. There's plenty of big movies that I just like don't get to the theater, and then they are available to buy or whatever, and they're
it's hard.
3 hours long.
Right.
So,
it feels like they pass you by if you don't get them in a certain time. Like suddenly, like you're 2 years out, going like, "Whatever happened? I was going to watch that thing."
Yeah.
Like
But now that I've seen it, I was blown away. They were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So
you guys have seen Dune 2 as well, right?
Yeah.
I haven't. No.
Oh, you haven't? Oh.
No.
Spoilers. It's really good.
John didn't say that at all after he watched it. So.
No, I didn't. I think, it would sometime be good to do an episode, talk about Dune. We just talk about both of them and like where we want to go and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. For my sort of Food Wars-esque thing, I've started up where I had left off probably years ago at this point on High School DxD. So
sure.
You did, huh?
Yeah, I'm in season 2.
Okay.
And I watched episodes 19 and 20. So but that's one of those things like you just watch one and it's, you know.
Did it come back to you?
You know, the overall story did come back to me, like the general things. Yeah.
Okay.
But it just keeps getting more ludicrous. Phil, how much of it have you watched? I know you said
I've tried a couple episodes just to see what all the fuss was about.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Certainly, I mean, it's a thing.
It's one of the higher rated.
It is a show.
Anime.
Yeah.
When you look at the lists,
I've heard that. Like the storyline's actually good. It's like well animated.
Yeah, and it's just funny too. Like I don't know how much they're changing, but the English dub I've always enjoyed.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was pretty hilarious. So
I believe you. Oh, John, can I add one thing that I took a page out of your book? Didn't mean that as a bad pun, but it was one. We were at Barnes & Noble this weekend. I had the gift card, and we took the girls there and walked out, even with our gift cards, with like $150 in books. That was fun. Anyway, I found I don't know if you guys have been to Barnes & Noble lately, but they're like leaning into manga. They have a ton of manga available, which is cool. Yes. I wish they had the first 2 volumes, but I found they had like volume 1 and then 6 and 7 of Dandadan. So I bought volume 1.
Nice.
And I read about half of volume 1 so far. And just because I know I'm all excited about it, and then you crushed my dreams by reminding me last time we had a pod that it actually doesn't come out until October 2024. So
unfortunately,
I was like, well, I should just buy
half a year away.
a couple volumes and read it check it out.
You'll have to look online for the other volumes. It's tough with manga because so much of it is, look, if it's a limited run thing, if it's a short series or it's a single volume or something, often it's regularly available. But if it's a continual, there are 17, 30 volumes of this, they just run out of stock. Like you don't know what ones you're going to find of it. And I definitely had, at times, I had trouble getting copies of Heavenly Delusion.
Oh, sure.
And so I had some physical, I had some from Apple Books, I had some from Amazon. So just like, it's a mishmash. If I ever want to read that again, it's just like jumping between things because it just became hard to find. It's like, well, I'm going to read it. So but okay. So after half of first volume, thumbs up.
I think it's great. It's really fun. They don't take long to get. I mean, it doesn't take long to get into the premise, which is nice. And it's just like, it's going to make for a fairly graphic anime, I imagine. Just like these aliens and ghosts are super, pervy, and so it's just. I mean, I'm here for it. It's quite funny, but super great anime or super great art. It's really well drawn and funny.
I think the person that does it he was an assistant on Chainsaw Man.
Oh, okay.
And
I could see that.
Yeah,
it reminds me a little bit of, in some parts, like some of the later, I guess, arcs or volumes of One Punch Man. So that's really the only manga I've read at length, because I was reading it on what's the show? Thank you. I was reading on Shonen Jump Online. I had like a subscription for a couple years because after season 2 One Punch Man, I really wanted to find out what happened next, and I'm glad I started reading it, because who knows if they're going to have another season of One Punch Man in the future. I think they say they're going to, but anyway, I read way ahead in that, and that's a kind of a similar, I think, vibe of just like really bizarre monsters and stuff.
Sure.
But Chainsaw Man also kind of, I always thought Chainsaw Man and some of those seasons also were similar.
Did Dana pick up any manga?
She did not.
Oh, okay.
She did not.
They definitely, they must sell, the sections are often busy. Some of the busiest sections in all of the store. Mm-hmm. I know going to the one in the Mall of America, it's not uncommon for there to be a crowd of people.
Oh, wow. Manga. Okay, it wasn't that busy yet. The Woodbury one, but...
Sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
I finished Dandadan Volume 7.
Oh, okay.
That's the one I just finished now.
Is that the most recent volume?
Yep.
Okay. They did have that volume, but which makes sense.
Yeah, I've got Volume 8 on pre-order. So...
Nice.
It's,
I just have to say, though, it just...
Oh, go ahead.
It's not. I don't think it's not quite the same as watching it in like an anime form.
So you don't think you're going to keep up with the manga?
I may. I really like it, and it's not. It's coming out in so.
I mean,
far,
like in like a general sense, yeah.
I don't know that I'll. I could see myself getting into a little bit more than I do, because I really should start reading more, and I know that doesn't count. I also bought the first 2 volumes of the Storm Lake Chronicles by Brandon Sanderson, so I'm getting into that new big fantasy series. But anyway,
sure.
I won't say it doesn't count. It just isn't the same brain exercise.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, sure. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Good clarifying. Yes. No. It's still good, and it is good to read and not watch everything. I don't know though. I just don't like it quite as much.
Well, I think what you'll find is sometimes you'll prefer one or the other. Like right now, maybe you're not enjoying this, but maybe if you do read it and then you watch the show, you'll be like, well, actually, I read all of Hell's Paradise. And I watched season 1. Mm-hmm. At this point, the manga is better.
Okay.
Like, even though the anime follows quite closely, like I don't have to worry about any sort of animation issues in the manga. It's just fill in the blanks with, the in-betweens with your own mind.
That's true.
And then,
and I will say, sorry. Can I just add one point?
Yeah.
To your point, that I've watched so much anime at this point, it's that some of the panels, like action still panels, I was able to like visualize that more effectively than maybe I was able to a couple of years ago, trying manga for the first time. Yeah. So I've seen so much now in other shows, you're right, you can just kind of fill it in. So I will, think about that as I'm reading it. Maybe I need to give it more of a chance.
I also still think that they are different crafts, and I think sometimes the mistake that's made, and we've had this kind of why discussion before, but there's things you can read and they are believable or sound good or whatever as you read them in your head. But if you straight copy paste to now someone saying it's not good. The prime example of this for me is like the Twilight series. You can read the Twilight series of books and it's like, I can live with all this. But if you take that and move it directly to real people saying these things, you just
so
can't.
Cringe.
Yes, it's
so cringe.
It's like it's even like on a smaller scale, like how maybe sometimes it's easier to text something to someone than it is to say it. There just there's a difference. And so I feel like maybe that's some of my problems with Jujutsu Kaisen, or things where I can forgive some exposition issues or some weird lines when I'm reading it, because but as soon as someone says it aloud, it just becomes inexcusable. And so there needs to be the adaptation does need to be an adaptation, not a one for one. I love when certain panels are exactly the same. Lots of that stuff, but
hit the beats, but don't don't match all the steps.
Try to be as adherent as possible, but where it's not possible, where it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it'll be interesting this fall. Maybe I will try to keep up on Dandadan and keep buying the volumes. I mean, I have plenty of time to get through 7 volumes between now and October. So even if I just buy one a month, I can pretty much do it. So.
Even thinking of Dandadan, there are moments in it. It's like, if they make this exactly this way in the anime, I will be upset. I will be disappointed.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Just unnecessary lines and stuff. But but fortunately, the type of story it is so off the wall zany that a lot can be forgiven.
Sure. Yeah, I would say.
Okay, well, this is pretty similar to you guys. Kaiju number 8. I did watch the first 2 episodes, and I watched one more episode of Mashal. Like, that's the show I'm going through the slowest of anything.
Yeah.
And then I watched 10 through 14 of Freerin. So
nice.
Going more in that. And
are they into the demon arc yet? Past the demon arc?
I don't know where the arcs are. I don't know.
Or just like the part where there's like demons.
I figured that would be a thing throughout the season, but they definitely dealt with a bunch of demons recently.
Okay.
And they're past that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like where you find out, like, when she's with the whole mana thing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you find out
Yes.
Okay. That was a cool episode. I love that. It's things like that. She's such an unassuming character. Mm-hmm. Then you kind of find out more about her, and you're like, whoa, all right, it's cool.
It's a great show.
Yeah,
it's a great show.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I was going through it quicker, but it's very good.
It's all good.
So, okay,
you got a lot to get through. There's like 28 episodes. It's the longest season I think I've ever seen on just a mainstream show.
I'm halfway.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of maybe great shows, I don't know. Apothecary Diaries. Let's talk about that. We had our full season here. This show was pretty popular, I would say, throughout its run. People seem to be watching it, paying attention to it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know which of us started it first or recommended it, or how we decided, yes, let's try this one. I don't know.
It was not me.
Was it?
I mean, I wish it was, but it could have been.
I'd have to look back through the text threads. But John, I thought you guys had tried it maybe and only gotten an episode or 2 in.
Yeah,
and then,
maybe. And then you were like, "Oh, it's good." So then
you got back into it then.
Some of that maybe.
Doesn't matter. We all discovered it at the exact same time. We're brilliant.
So, Apothecary Diaries. So with Phil, you maybe started it first. What? We'll go to you first.
Sure.
What did you think going into this? What did you think kind of after first episode, and how did things unfold for you? Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, that was like 2 months ago, so I'll try to think back. I remember, I think we just kind of started on a whim. I was trying to get Dane a little bit more. This might have been the first. This might have been maybe we were watching Delicious in Dungeon. I think that was one of the first ones I had. She hadn't watched a series in a while, and we'd been watching Miyazaki films. quite a bit. Both just her and I, and with the girls, some of the My Neighbor Totoro and stuff. And so I was looking for a series, and I just been hearing a lot about this one, and so I think we just kind of tried it on a whim. I think I actually tried it first and realized, oh, she really would like this.
Sure.
And then we started watching it, and she did. She loves it. And we really binged it quite a lot. I think for like a week we watched 2 or 3 episodes a night. Until we kind of caught up, and then she actually went and watched it like beyond me. When we first saw it, I was trying to think. I mean, it's just a cool storyline. It's interesting. She's a really likable main character, Momo. It's a cool world, like Imperial China, where it's just like, I kind of like it personally because it's like not too intense. Like they can make it really intense. Some would make it more of like a drama. I mean, you know, like the scenes when she gets like kidnapped and stuff, they don't throw in any these scenes where it's like super heavy, like, oh, and then she gets assaulted and then she gets sold and it's really hard and dark all the time. I mean, objectively, that's terrible what happened to her, but she kind of rolls with it and she seems pretty much okay. No one like attacked her or hurt her, and now she just like has to work in this palace, and it's not ideal. She doesn't really have her freedom, but she kind of sort of earns it over time. And in such like a harsh world, like sometimes I think historical time periods that were quite harsh and hard for the people who lived in those time periods are portrayed so accurately. It's like, oh, this is heavy. I don't want to actually see how miserable these people's lives were. They do it in like kind of a cutesy way, but it's still like fun. There still are like bad things that befall people.
Right.
But then there's like these mysteries she's trying to solve. It's just like it's lighter than I would have thought, which I really like. And then there's kind of a romantic comedy. It's fun. This has got a lot of different things for a lot of different people. And the characters are likable. Momo is great. Jinshi's really cool. I really think is funny. Jinshi's second in command with the hair. With the hair flip thing in the front. That guy's hilarious. Like, I really like all the characters, the different concubines, and like they're like ladies in waiting. There's like all these different like people, like groups that are kind of like plotting a little bit, and the way they interact. It's just really interesting. There is some historical stuff thrown in too. I think it's probably fairly accurate. I haven't done any research on it, but I would guess. So, yeah.
Mao.
Is that what did I say? Momo.
Momo.
Oh god.
Yeah.
No, you said Momo. I was John. It's Mao. Come on, get it right.
Yeah, John's very loose with his pronunciation.
My apologies.
I mean,
Momo. I meant to say Momo. Obviously.
It is like
quote
unquote Chinese or something, so it's different. But
right. Sorry, did I say that? Did I say that?
Yeah.
You did. Yeah, you did say it was.
Oh, okay. I'm the man who get everything wrong.
No. You did say China.
Andrea, how about you? You mirror similar thoughts, or?
Yeah. So I was going to touch on a few of Phil's. I also enjoyed kind of how Mao Mao's kidnapping was like treated as this everyday occurrence. It wasn't this like big tragic event. She was like, it's cool because, you know, I'm here, I'm protected, like I have a purpose. Nobody's like, you know, treating me terribly because I have a purpose. And then, you know, eventually she works her way up to like where, you know, she gets like leave to go see her dad. And she's like, it's fine. Like, I'm good. I'm okay. So it's not, I mean, it's obviously a thing that disrupted the initial trajectory of where she thought her life was going to go, but it's not like this be all end all. Like, I'm separated from my father forever. I'm separated from the outside world. You know, people beat me. Like it's, she just treats it as this, you know, it happens. She's very pragmatic about everything, which I think grounds her character very well, that, you know, it's pragmatism. Everything is just like, well, it's logic. You know, this is what happens in this world. I have now become part of that system. And so I'm going to deal with it the best I can. So that's, I like that through line, both for events and for her character. I did see very quickly in the kind of romantic comedy portion that this show is, that there was going to be something between Mao Mao and Jinchi because she's that stereotypical, like, everybody responds to me this way except for this girl. Now I'm like fixated because she's not responding to me.
Yeah.
And now I like her. So that was like a very classic setup.
Sure.
But I do think that there is something interesting in Mao Mao's, like, I really am not catching any of that. And I find that actually believable. Like, some characters, I'm like, my goodness, this is like so in your face. It is impossible for you not to see this. Like, why, why are you doing this dance? Like, it's not believable anymore. It's too prolonged that, this character wouldn't see it. I do think it's going to be necessary for the show moving forward for Mao Mao to, like, acknowledge that in some way. And I don't know how she's going to deal with it, but I think they're to a point where she's, even through her tunnel vision, gotta address that with Jinchi. The one other thing that I really want to say about the first season, I loved the closing arc, and spoilers, between Mao Mao and her father. I really, really loved it. I didn't see it coming, and I did not expect to feel sympathy for her father. I really thought they were, like, teeing him up as this, like, horrible, dismissive, unfeeling person, and then to have that story arc flip the way that it did, it was amazing. I really didn't see it coming, and I loved it. So I thought the show closed very strongly in a way that was completely unexpected from when I started watching at the beginning.
I agree. Yes, I concur. It was definitely also on because so much of the season felt segmented, it really was sort of the mystery of the week sort of thing.
Yes.
And for it to come
very
together
episodic
in this strong way and try to connect some of the pieces, thought that was well done.
Yeah. I really didn't see that coming, that, like, overall thread. It was just there enough that I was like, sure, picking that up. And then, to, like, mirror that, like, arc with her dad. I really enjoyed it.
On a rewatch, it'd probably be more, it'd probably be pretty rewarding, I guess, to see little pieces. Oh, that makes sense. So, and see why they're laying that down.
Right.
I'll disagree on one thing. It was one of my holdups, actually. And though ultimately I understand what you're saying, like the pragmatism is good, but the initial kidnapping, it felt strange and unrealistic. Like, so little deal was made of it. After we realize what the result of who has kidnapped her, the result of the kidnapping, I understand, like, okay, well, this isn't so bad. I can, they didn't sell me into sex slavery. They didn't have their way with me and then throw me off a cliff, but that could be your fate in the moment. So in the moment of the kidnapping, I thought a little more distress was warranted.
Sure.
But other than that,
I just sort of bought into it. It was, like, just very, like, yes. In the moment I was a little distressed for her, but it flipped so quickly that she was like, I'm now part of the human trade. This happens. They're passing me to this palace, and then they get my wages. This is, like, clearly just like a already worked out thing where nobody gets hurt, nobody gets abused, because, like, it's more profitable if you're not.
Right.
So I don't know. I just sort of felt like, terrible, but true.
Yeah. And Phil, what you're saying about the show, like, tackling some, tough things, but not in a uber gritty way. I think it's an interesting, like, balancing act they managed with the show to make it feel lighthearted and casual. Like, we would watch it and it would feel like a relaxing watch for the most part, other than, like, okay, I'm not sure, maybe these moving pieces or this person and then their name, I'm not sure exactly at times, what's happening. But still managing to have serious stuff. And we're dealing with poisonings and, theft and all sorts of, it's,
warning, baby death.
Yeah. Right.
True.
So really dark stuff, but it almost never really felt too heavy.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
That was kind of nice. And it didn't go for the melodramatic, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It could really lean into the tears and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Even one of the more intense scenes I can remember is when they confront the poisoner, and I think she's like dumping the poison all over her, and she's like gets really intense with her. Even that, I still never felt like this is super heavy or super intense or I don't know. It's just something about how they do the characters. It's like I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but yeah, I agree.
I remember
it.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was thinking about that too, Phil. Like they don't overuse like the fact that Mao Mao does have a very angry side to her, but they don't overuse it. She's not like angry at everyone. Sometimes she's just like, I caught you, you're terrible. Like but now I've handed you over and I've done the task I needed to do. I'm not personally angry at you, even though I caught you doing a bad thing.
She's like, I solved the puzzle. Now I can relax.
Exactly. Yeah. I will leave like punishments elsewhere. Yeah, there's only like one or two moments where you're like, ooh, like this is, feeling personal to her. She's feeling like
agreed. Yep.
I think that's a nice like shocker. So like you're cued into like this is something.
Yep. It's very like Sherlock Holmesian in that way, where she's like she does these things because she finds it fascinating to like solve a riddle and a puzzle. Yes. And I think she cares to help, and she has like a sense of morality, right and wrong. But ultimately, it's like that's her motivation is like being able to be in a position to like solve these puzzles and like interact with poisons and things.
She clearly, I like your analogy. She's clearly like Holmesian, Holmes-esque, there's that vein. She definitely does have like caring relationships in the way that like he forms an actual relationship with, John Watson. Like she cares about like the original courtesans who've raised her. She like sends her dad there to buy one. Yeah. And she's like, I hope he picks the nice one who's always been really, great. It works out a different way. And she's like, well, this is good too. But you know what I mean? So she clearly like feels that sense of caring. She feels like a sense of loyalty to the lady that she does end up serving at the imperial court. So there's care there. Yeah. But it does feel like a little bit distant. Yeah. Because she cares more about the puzzle than the people.
Right. Well, just, and yes, I agree with all of that. Also, the way they do the way they do the season in the episodes, it's almost like every episode is a new mystery to solve. Kind of like Sherlock. I just feel like there's a lot. It's just like almost like cut in that same vein because it's like your mystery of the week. She has a mystery to solve every week, and I think Jinshi and his assistant are kind of like make a weird type of Watson character to her Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. Well, and there's obviously like the play with like substances, like for her, it's poisons and alcohol. For Sherlock, like there's a different kind of substance involved, but so, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think, and I don't know how in modern interpretations anyways of Sherlock Holmes, I don't know well of the like originals and stuff.
Sure.
I feel like the way he sees the world is a hindrance to him operating in the world often. Like he's great at doing what he does, but then that causes him to have problems keeping relationships and friends and being normal in the world because he isn't normal. And so I think if there was going to be one thing, and it was one of my complaints that went away later in the show in the season, but early on was like one of my main core complaints was just how it didn't feel like there was a downside to her and her abilities and knowledge and some of that. She just was like perfect, other than like being unaware that someone is very much interested in her.
Sure.
There was nothing. And I brought up examples of how, why was she the only one that could think to warm up stones and put them on a pouch for people? Like, she's always the answer for everything. And when it couldn't have been enough that she was the answer for the mysteries. So it just like, it was too much. And it later I felt like it's like they spent their time saying, yes, she can do everything and knows everything and is better than everybody else at everything, that they didn't have to try to prove it anymore. And it just then
it was just there.
Yeah.
So
that was like really, when I look at the whole thing, that was probably my only issue, and it seemed to wane later. Like I gave up on that, the complaint.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agreed with you when we were in the midst of that, like in the midst of the season, where I was like, yeah, Jinchi is always asking her to do stuff. And like, they sort of, I think in the earlier part play with like, he's asking her because he's obsessed with her. Sure. And so there's a little bit of like that. So then it like, as the viewer, you're like, yes. And also like, she is still solving everything, which is kind of annoying that like she can do everything. And then by the end, I was okay with it, because then that meant that those tiny little threads through the season were able to be like, she was the only one who was going to be able to put this together, because she was part of all of those mysteries. So it's like, I get it. Like, they played a really long game. It got a little bit much, but okay. Because she had to be at all these things to put together like the big plot that was maybe gonna like assassinate, which they've now like they've alluded to. They haven't said out loud, but they've alluded to like Jinchi and his true identity.
Right.
Yeah. Because we had this like assassination plot happening.
I think it would have been interesting to have, playing with that idea is he's always asking her to be involved in something, and it becomes obvious to her at some point, like, why are you asking me for all these things when I know or I know you can figure this out yourself or whatever. And so it'd be like, I don't know, you minimize a window on your computer and you have someone in your cubicle next door that you like, and you're like, I don't know where this went. Can you help me? And it's like a minimized window. And it's just like, really, I see what you're doing here, except she never sees what he's doing here.
Right.
But
because it doesn't like compute in her brain. Like, she doesn't have that. And then also because she spent her whole life being like, I made myself ugly, so I don't have to deal with any of this. And also like, he's a eunuch. So like,
is he a eunuch? Is
he? But he's on the surface,
he's not. Obviously, they talk about taking those medicines to like make it seem like
right. But like, she doesn't know that at that point.
Oh, well, true.
But he's a eunuch, but he's like going through the process of chemical castration. So
right,
true. Temporarily. He's not doing permanent. I think he's doing like a temporary version.
But like, to her brain, like all the puzzle pieces say like he is, because otherwise, why would the emperor let him back there?
Right.
Sure.
And be in such close contact with all of his you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to her brain, she doesn't have to put any pieces together, because everything that's happening fits.
Yeah.
True.
No,
I did find it weird though how all the women were like pining after him and like, oh, he's so this, no, he's so that, he's so handsome.
He's so pretty.
Like, he's a eunuch. What do you expect to do with him except for look at him?
Things can happen. Phil, use your imagination.
I know, but doesn't that like ruin it?
Why did Miss Ende go after Grey Worm? Like, boy could do other things.
I guess, but I just feel like them not having like a sex drive would maybe kill the mood for the other person.
Did Grey Worm not have a sex drive? He definitely did.
I never got that far in the books, or maybe that was. I don't remember that being
in the series.
In the TV series.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the like terrible last seasons, but it's there.
I don't remember it being in the books, but I don't think that
It's not in the books. It's not in the books.
If you're a eunuch, you don't have a sex drive.
It depends. Like if you've had the dick
why wouldn't you have a
chopped,
sex drive?
or you've had the balls cut off.
That's the whole point of. Okay, so I actually, fun fact, went on a deep dive about
I recall this. I remember.
After the show started coming out, I was just like researching it. I was just looking. I was sitting at Taekwondo, like waiting for Sam to get done with Taekwondo, and I was like, seems like a weird thing. I know.
And the parents next to you are like, "What are you looking at?"
No, I don't want to sit next to me. That's fine. Mm-hmm. And I was reading like literal like historical like texts. I mean, it wasn't like I was reading inappropriate stuff. It was
Wikipedia?
like history.com or whatever. Yeah, it was fine. Or just like, but yeah, there are people can elect to be chemically castrated if they suffer from like sex addiction or like, if they're like, have, if they're like pedophiles but never acted on it, but they have these thoughts that are like torturing them, you can go to and get like elect to get chemically castrated. And they said that it's like freed them so much because they're not obsessing about sex all the time anymore. In which case, like sex, someone who has a sex addiction. And so, they like, it's, you like don't have you can't like get an erection. I mean, it's even if you're like, so not to get too like detailed.
This would be the chemical. Yeah. So that'd be the chemical route.
Right. So like, but in the show, like nobody else knows that Jinji is chemical. You know what I mean? So they don't know what they don't know.
True. Well, they all think he's a eunuch though.
Yeah, but again, like if they don't know it's chemical, like he could still be sexually attracted to someone, or he could be like romantically interested in someone enough to say like, I know you're like sexually interested, like I will do this for you.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like there's a difference between like when people are asexual or aromantic, like there's a difference there. So it could be that you can still have romantic feelings for someone and say like, I know this is part of what you want. It's not for me, but like, let's talk about if I can, do that for you.
Sure.
Do you know? Yeah. I mean, this is a little more
imagining situations now.
True.
This is a little more philosophical than I meant to get about like
I think
the type of eunuch he is, but still like, it's, I don't think that they're all like just thinking, well, that anything's going to happen other than like, oh, he's so pretty.
Sure.
But if they did, like, maybe there could be a possibility. But I don't know.
I also do understand what you're saying, Phil. I do understand what you're saying. And maybe this is a guy's perspective, or maybe it's not. I don't know. But it's like, it'd be like, he doesn't have a dick. I don't know. I'll look elsewhere, I guess.
I love how you're both like, why would women do this? And I'm like, here I am, a woman saying why. And you're like, exactly. I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's, so.
No, I get what you're saying too, Andrea. Yes. Yes. No, that is true. Then a lot of different people who make relationships work in a lot of different ways. It's not to say that someone who doesn't have a lot of people that are in relationships that don't necessarily consider sex a very important part at all of their relationship. So it's different for every couple. Not trying to say it has to be necessary. Don't come at me. Don't cancel me, people online.
Plus, I just think in this show, like, there's just so much, like, they just say, like, oh, he's so pretty.
Sure, you're right.
They love to look at him.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. Great, I mean, I really enjoyed the scenes. It was a good one later where Mao Mao has to analyze the other guy's body.
For Perrin, I don't, for her, like her courtesan who like he wants her, and she's like, I know her type. I'm gonna like check out her body. Yeah. Sorry, I said that terribly because I couldn't remember if I was pronouncing the courtesan's name right, but yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so that was really funny. And then of course he walks in and her being just so like, it might be part of it too is, it's interesting. Like she grew up around all of this. She grew up around the sex trade. So you can see someone maybe being quite literally turned off from that sort of thing. That might be a route that someone takes. And then also these other people that she's around are way out above her rank. Like she was not be considered for a relationship. She's just not, they're not on the same level. So her being unaware of like someone coming on to her kind of makes sense.
Right.
But does it completely make sense that she has like no, again, it's just, I guess, the analytical look of, I know the type, I can analyze your body, and she just puts herself in that mode.
Sure.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem to have to even put herself in a mode. She just is that mode.
She just is there, which is nice. It's consistent.
It's true. It's consistent. Yeah. Can Jinchi break her though? Can she like?
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. So speaking of body types, I did enjoy that scene. That was very hilarious, and you knew from the second it was happening where it was going.
Yeah.
Like, but you still enjoyed it. The one that I actually really enjoyed was like Mao Mao's like de-beautifying Jinchi, making him like this like lumpy, fat, and like it was so fascinating to watch her break it down. And it was like, yes, that is what you would do. And then, and like putting cotton balls in his cheeks and like all of it. It was I really enjoyed it.
To wear, like I was thinking,
really
cotton
would.
balls in your cheeks, like that'd be annoying.
I agree, John. All I can think about when that was happening is like, this must be so uncomfortable to be walking around with cotton balls in your mouth all day.
Yes.
And gross.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like getting your wisdom teeth pulled. Then.
Right.
But like she did a really great job. She was like, how am I going to make it so that he can just like walk around and be like normal? And I was like, how are you?
Yeah.
And she did.
Those all good questions.
I love the cultural, like, if I put freckles on my face, I'll be ugly.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's like so the reverse of like the ugly girl who wears glasses and then like takes them off and she's beautiful. But it's like, it's terrible. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I will put freckles on my face and now I'm like ugly.
Also, are freckles not cute? Is that like what? I thought
not in Asian cultures, no.
They're not. Oh, I was like,
pure,
you can't be exposed to the sun.
Pale skin.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, well, learning so much today.
You'd know that you were I think it comes from the idea that you would know that you're a commoner, a lower class citizen if you're tan. Yeah. So you get spots from the sun, all that sort of thing. It's like, oh, you're labor in the heat, so you clearly are not,
I see. That makes sense. Okay, I was gonna say, freckles are adorable, so it doesn't track.
I wanted to, while we're near that subject, near a subject anyway, I wanted to say another thing that I appreciated about this show in breaking some of its romantic comedy stereotypes. It did hew to some of them, but breaking one of them, I really liked that. Oh, that's a great face from Mao Mao. I really liked that one of the tropes that it didn't pull, or it hasn't at least thus far, is like multiple people being interested in Mao Mao. Like I thought when she made friends with like that soldier guy, I was like, uh-oh, are we going to introduce like a rival here? And like Jinchi certainly thinks he is for like a hot second, but like he isn't actually interested in Mao Mao. Like I was like, oh, thank goodness it's not going to be like everybody keeps noticing her. Yes, everybody keeps noticing her, and like she just picks up one here and one there, and like it actually seems like the women like her, which I enjoy. Mm-hmm. Like the women are the ones who are like, she's so cool and special and awesome. And like, we really have.
I think there's a split there. Like there's also women that hate her because she gets to be around Jinchi all the time. So
totally
get to know her, but
yes. But all I was just saying is like, I like that she's like picking up female friendships instead of picking up like male suitors.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I enjoy that breaking. Like it gets to be a bit much sometimes.
Agreed.
I mean, like High School DxD. It's like half a dozen women after one dorky guy. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But
sometimes it's really fun to watch that. And sometimes you're like, I just need, because she has all these like skills and things. If all the men are attracted to her too, and like suddenly she's picking up suitors, it's like too much for you. Too much. You need
be a very different show.
That's
yeah.
The show. One of I think the great parts about it is it's kind of its own thing. It's like can't think of any shows. I mean, you can think of like bits and pieces that Sherlock Holmes and some of this different other things, but it's kind of its own thing. I feel like it's like a romantic comedy, but
I agree.
Mystery,
mystery. Yeah,
that's a good point. Like kind of tying into both what you're saying there. It's not. It's not following all the tropes. It's following some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it is kind of, it doesn't feel like you've seen this a million times.
Yeah.
Even though there's things in it. And that I think is part of what makes it, it makes it stand out along with Free Rent. Like that's why a lot of people were really like, wow, this season, what a treat. We got these two shows that were that were very different from one another and very different from what else has come before. We often get I think there's fewer shows that are in a kind of fantasy interpretation of, not fantasy in the sense of like magic, but fantasy in the sense of alternate version of China. We would more likely be in feudal Japan, which would make sense, but it was just a little bit different flavor. And then again, that tone it managed to hit. I think that's probably a big reason for its success. And the art is quite beautiful, it's a lot of the backgrounds are really nice and
great color. It's just like, especially.
The closing scenes with Mao Mao's dance was really just vibrant. Like her clothing against like that vibrant night sky was just really beautiful.
And it ended up having a pretty good like cast of characters, supporting characters. Kind of built or whatever, and we had a few at the end that were good, and it went places that I didn't expect. Where all of a sudden she's in the court here, and she's serving a lady in waiting and all that stuff, or whatever, or serving the courtesan. Then we all of a sudden switch, and she's off serving just Jinchi at his place or whatever. And then the kind of, so I didn't expect those things. So kept taking different turns.
Yeah. Well, and her parents, like, that's like a total shift. That is a pretty dark story for this show. Like her actual parents. I mean, we at the first half of the season, like her dad is like, oh, this is my dad. He's a way better like apothecary than me. He's a better doctor. Like he knows all this stuff. And so we're just sort of like accepting of their father-daughter relationship. And then in the second half, we really get like this, no, I have this like kind of horrible, tragic background that, we're just going to very matter-of-factly reveal. About like why she's tied and grown up in these like courtesan houses and like why she's got a little bit of trauma and why she kind of is dissociating from that and latching on to the doctor as her father.
Yeah, some of that almost passed me by. Like you say, it's kind of matter-of-factly. So again, it's not melodramatic. It's not, it's kind of quick in some of those scenes we see. And it's kind of really just, as things unfold, you understand better. At least I did, anyways. It's like, okay, this is becoming more clear, and I understand what we really went through. But do you think?
Well, and I say dissociation because I think she does. I think she really, like, she has this one moment where she gets emotional about remembering her mother trying to kill her.
Right.
Which is a pretty dark moment of the show. And then she just like shuts it away again.
Yep.
Because her safe zone is like this like logical, pragmatic personality.
Yeah.
I was saying at one point, like, isn't it a little, what was it now? I thought it was a little unfair that you'd be expecting her father to pick up on that she's pregnant.
Yes.
I was like,
yes.
Okay, if you made that assumption, fine, but can you be expected to? I don't know.
Yeah, the show is like pretty light touch about like, her mom just really expects him to pick up on a lot of cues, like a lot of very light cues, and just like know what's happening.
Yeah.
And he does, the fact that he does like years later is so tragic, but yeah. In the moment I was like, wow, that you're really expecting a lot from him here.
Speaking of her father, have you guys ever heard of someone that has that condition where they can't distinguish faces?
Yes.
Okay.
I used to work with someone like that.
Crazy.
Yeah, not that someone is like sees them as like ghost stones. That's like extra. Yeah. But yes.
Oh no, but I've known a couple people like personally, like professionally, who like people like coworkers that they just can't recognize faces, and so you have to kind of like pay attention to like voices and like kind of just a manner of carrying yourself.
Body
and like size. Yeah, I mean, you look at other cues and like your kind of like body language and stuff, and they get to know people well that way. But yeah, I mean, if you ran them into this on the street out of context, and then you like get to really associate certain people with certain contexts. But then if you run them on the street, you might be like, oh, I don't know who you are.
Like if you work with them and you see them like in your case, like at a hospital, and you're like, oh yes, like thank you, Q, because we are here. At the grocery store, you're like, sorry.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be difficult, but it was not something I expected. Again, yes, I agree, Andrea. He was such a pleasant surprise because they set up very intentionally, obviously, here's the bad plotting, scheming guy, you know, and Jinshi doesn't like him, and so well, we don't like him now, and then it really is not what they led us to believe. Which by any action, there's nothing to go at him. It's really just like the look he'd give, or maybe the musical note they provide for us. Is he's like
the monocle,
right?
The bad guy, monocle.
Exactly. Yeah, his like furrowed like brow, narrowed eyes behind the monocle, that like smile that you're just like, you're smarmy. And then you learn he's Mamo's dad, and she hates him, so you're like, ooh, he like abandoned her, like something terrible happened. He's suspicion confirmed. And then it is not at all what you think.
So when did she know that he was her father, and when did he know that she was his daughter? That's a question I have. At what point?
That is a good question. I do not know.
I don't either.
I feel like we need that answer, because that will depend on, you know, how their relationship makes sense or not, you know. And
I don't remember if they ever like, you know, even briefly say.
Right.
They just sort of like come into existence, and suddenly they're like telling Jinshi, you know, like she's like, that's my dad. And, you know, he's like, how long have you been near my daughter?
Yeah.
So
it's the show doesn't hold your hand. Like it's you go through a lot of names and a lot of situations and whatever, and they don't hold your hand. And I've had it at points where I was felt lost, but I was always able to find where we were going and what had happened. That's, you know, it just sometimes took a little for it to be explained or something. So
sure.
So that was good.
Dana calls it Sherlock Holmes meets Memoirs of a Geisha.
That's pretty good.
And then she was telling me, she's like, and I realize that geishas are Japanese, but she was saying felt like the pleasure house district was similar to like geisha culture, maybe, or as far as she knew. But although I don't know if geishas were technically always like courtesans in the same way, but that doesn't matter, you know, as well, it matters.
Yeah, I don't think always, you know, but
they would have,
could be.
I think that's the stereotype.
But you're thinking of more like the trained level, courtesans, right?
With the like making the tea and like
going through the ceremony, and like I can talk and play music, or you know, in this case, play Go, or you know,
yep, exactly, yeah.
You can get the modern day version of that if you go to Japan and rent a girlfriend.
Right, there you go.
Oh.
Yep.
So I don't know. They may or may not have talents, but you know, get to spend time with them.
I know Dana was telling me before too. She really likes the all this like the science, the science aspect of it, all the like chemistry and the herbology and some of those things in the house. She uses it to like solve the different mysteries.
And there was a couple times where it was like information that we know now, but she was very intrigued by something. I forgot what it was, but she was like, is it her? It was the thing about bringing people back to life too, or something.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Here's a plant, that can make me do this. And
right.
so it's just fun that, she doesn't know all that, I guess. And, there's different sort of, I don't know, lore or folk tales or superstitions.
Well, it's kind of perfect that she doesn't know about that, because it then allows us to believe that that is possible. So like there's that whole like Romeo and Juliet-esque, like I just took an herb that I've been growing in my garden and now I appear dead and we're going to switch my body out so I can escape and get away from like the plot that I've been hatching and all of that. Because she doesn't know and therefore can't explain it, it allows us to make it happen, wherein if she knew about it already, the show would have to have her explain it to us, and it falls apart at that point. It's something that you can't actually explain because it doesn't actually exist. So if she was like, I know all about this, then there would have to be a moment of like, this is how she did it. I'm going to explain to you, Jinchi or whoever, and therefore us, and it all falls apart. So it's logical in that moment that she's like, I don't know what this is. I must know.
Sure.
Because do you get where I'm going with that? Like you can't, it doesn't work. It doesn't actually exist.
Yeah. No,
so you leave her to be wondering and excited
therefore,
about something.
Right. Therefore you can keep it vague and not have to try and like make it make sense for the audience who'd be like, no.
Yep. Where all the other stuff does make sense. And it was fun to see all that stuff. Like, oh, this is, toxic for babies and whatever.
Right.
So,
yeah, that part, this lasts, like switch out corpses and I'm going to appear dead. It's very Romeo and Juliet, where they just like go to the friar and he's like, totally, I've got like a poison to make you appear dead. It's totally fine. It's all going to be good. It's going to work out.
Yep. Okay. Well, what have we not said? Anything that's must be spoken about this?
Dana wanted me to say she's a very big fan of the original main theme song.
Okay. Yes.
Also, one of our older daughter is as well. But yes, she loves that song.
Did she watch a lot of it too, or
which our daughter? Mm-hmm. Oh no, she doesn't watch the show.
Oh, okay.
She's like she likes the song.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, probably a little, old for her yet.
Yeah, I'm guessing a lot would just like go over her head.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing like imagery wise that would be.
No, that's true.
Too terrible, but I mean, why?
For sure,
bother?
Might not enjoy.
No, yeah.
I'm interested. We haven't really talked about like the four main ladies, courtesans of like the court.
Sure.
And we obviously have one of them leave and get replaced by a new one who is like cold, distant. Yeah. Like she definitely is like an area to go for in season 2 and explore some storyline there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And like, and now you bring it up, this would have been an interesting show to cover like on a show every 3 episodes or something, because they do bring up a lot of different characters and we do go through sort of the different courtesans and they all have kind of their own questions and I forget a lot of them now and the roles they played and some of that.
Yeah, like they have the different names, like they have the different virtues, like the virtuous courtesan, like So yeah, I found it interesting that there was this like range of cast of characters, and they have their own like melodramas. They have like the once a year garden parties. They have intimate teas where they have to like I'm above you, you're below. We have to act this certain way of hospitality with each other, and we demonstrate that. But then also we like know the clear hierarchy in the emperor's favorites, but he has to have 4. So when one rotated out, we had to get a new one. who like, I don't know. She feels like she thinks she's better than everybody, and she's so just like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I don't get quite all where that's going right now.
Even in one of my favorite scenes, I guess, was when Mao Mao was like being brought in to coach them in like womanly secrets and ways and stuff. Some are having a blast and some are so embarrassed. The young one's super embarrassed, and she's very again like, oh, whatever, I'm very, very cold about it.
Yeah, like the two main,
pretty fun.
The two favorite courtesans are like, ooh, we're gonna do some new stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I will try this out. And like, thankfully the youngest one is like, ugh, way beyond my pay grade right now. Like, he is not interested. I'm not interested. Get out of here. And then she's just like, old hat.
Yeah, I guess
whatever.
So. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, but she's just very like gives no reaction.
Yeah. So. And so, again, it was a while ago now, but Jinchi and his sister, right? I mean, we have so many like hints and little breadcrumbs left behind for Jinchi, why he's really there, why he's trusted, why he's like making himself a eunuch or is convincing other people he is, like why he's so suspicious of Mama's dad, and just like the unknown history. Like there's just clearly a lot there as well to unpack about Jinchi.
Right.
So I like they definitely didn't try to explain all these things in the one season.
No.
And it'll be fun to broach them again in season 2.
For sure.
Yeah, now that we know it's definitely happening. I did like that.
That
like letting us know right away.
Right into another one. Yeah.
Yep, we have season 2. It's happening.
Nice. Do they say when? Oh, okay.
No.
I mean, I guess I would have been extremely surprised if they didn't do a season 2, but it's nice to know that it's already confirmed.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like there are some animes where you're like, man, how do they not do a season 2? Like, this is so good. And then,
it's so popular but I guess have there been other like majorly popular anime that they just like were like, can never get a season 2 off the ground?
I'm never all that up on what's popular other than the most obvious things. You know, like there's some that's like, okay, I see the merchandise everywhere. That's huge, obviously. But there are plenty of shows like, I don't know, was the Iron Fortress of Cabaneri and Iron Fortress, was that one really popular? I thought it should have been. It really seems like
I've never heard of that one.
It was on, I forgot if it premiered on Netflix or Amazon. It was one of their earlier, we're gonna have an anime, and then it got all mixed up in rights and stuff. And
what
I think they were supposed to be season 2.
What is this called?
Cabaneri and the Iron Fortress, I think is what it's called. And it's
I feel like I've heard you talk about that.
Yeah, it's very Attack on Titan-ish in style in a way.
Okay.
But it's ultimately kind of a zombie show.
Oh.
But goes in different places, and I really enjoyed it. I think they made like an OVA of it then. They like compressed it into fewer episodes and
sure.
All kinds of stuff. And then it was but then you never know. It's like Dodo Hey Dodo. I was like, oh, come on, season 2, and now we're finally getting one.
So,
yeah.
You're right. In theory.
Oh, let's check that one out. I think it's happening. So okay. Well, anything else? I mean, there's a lot to cover. It's a long show to talk about, but sure we'll get into it more when season 2 eventually comes out. And
I'm excited for season 2.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Okay, then. Well, want to let everybody know that again, Ohayou Anime can follow us on YouTube, and that's mostly where we're going to find Ohayou Anime specific stuff, YouTube, as you can find it there. Otherwise, the whole 9 yards, again, on podcast services, Twitch, that sort of thing, under Popcast on the Rocks. So if you're looking for one place to go, yep, Phil's representing the shirt. That's great. I think I'm going to put a Popcast on the Rocks sticker on my car pretty soon. Nice. I put the Ohayou Anime one on my pickup.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So, and our friend Mike, he is racing season is upon us. He should be on the track pretty soon, I think. And
didn't you say you were going to put a whole Ohayou Anime like rap on his Miata?
Yeah. You know, I don't know. Maybe someday. we got to come up with more money for that.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. But he does have our sticker on the back.
Oh, nice.
Have the Ohayou Anime sticker on the back. So I'll have to get a picture of that
sometime. There you go.
I don't know if I can. Yeah, I don't know if you put it on Instagram yet or not. So, but he's Track Mouse on Instagram and Track Mouse 34 on YouTube. So make sure you check him out. And then MJ Honeybee, she hasn't been streaming in a while, so I'm waiting for her to come back. But you know, she's normally was like 3 days a week on Twitch, mostly Dead by Daylight streams. So MJ Honeybee, make sure you give her a follow. Peter J. Gilbertson, he's a good friend and is an author, so he has collections of short stories on Amazon. Peter J. Gilbertson, he also wrote some. I don't know if it'll come up in search results, but he wrote for a digital magazine a short story, and those should be coming out. I don't know how often that magazine comes out, so give that a check. And then Scoop Eats, JP recommend to us Scoop Eats. So if you want to watch someone try to do food challenges, do food challenges, then check him out. And then Killing the Flower. They wrote our theme song for the main Popcast on the Rock show. So check them out on music streaming services. And that should be about it from us. I'm glad that we pushed this back a week, but wanted to make sure we got you both on there. Again, it's not all that common. We have this. I wish we could have had Dana here too. That would have been fun. But let us know what she's really watching next, so we can maybe get into that.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, that'll be it from us. Thank you for joining me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks.